Right, thought we would take a look at the box office and the state of Hollywood and use the Conjuring Last Rites as the jump off point, I guess, because it's these kind of small horror movies that are doing really, really well. Weapons was the last one. Conjuring Last Rites is now doing really well. People just want entertaining films. I think people are a bit sick of the blockbusters. The movies that you see advertised, you're like, yeah, I should be bothered about this, but I'm not. You know, like a try-hard movie, I guess. And this is where this is again another reason, genuinely, why I think Avengers is gonna absolutely bomb. I don't think Avengers Doomsday is going to do very well. I think we've seen the end of the sort of try-hard blockbuster movie for some time. So, Conjuring Last Rites is set to open. Some places are estimating $80 million debut. So like 75 million domestic and then 150 plus $1 million worldwide. Like pretty huge opening actually for a movie which had like it's like a $55 million budget. I think it was $55 million if I remember rightly, which is tiny. Like absolutely tiny. So this is huge. This is a huge movie. It's the biggest one in this franchise as well, if I remember correctly. But as it says, let the resurrection begin. Jolting the domestic box office back to life in a major way, New Line's The Conjuring Last Rites topped Friday's chart with a huge $34.5 million. That's just a Friday. That is really good. Including a record $8.5 million in Thursday previews. So that's by far the best opening day in the history of the franchise. Yet another win for Warner Brothers film empire, because they've had like bangers all year. As well as the best showing of the year so far for any Hollywood horror title. Last Rites is the 7th consecutive Warner Brothers release to open north of $40 million this year, which is a first for any Hollywood studio and one of the numerous milestones achieved this year by the once struggling studio. So Warner Brothers is on a bit of an up and up. But that's because they're not hedging all of their bets on superhero movies. So the news only gets better from there. The R-rated film is showing no signs of slowing down, as its projected domestic opening continues to climb. On Friday afternoon, it looked like it was headed for a record $65 million plus bow. Now it's on course to open $75 million. Again, some people are saying 80 plus million, but okay. And that's only from 3,800 theatres, which is not a lot. It is, however, the lion's share of higher-priced IMAX and other premium large format screens, which are a boon for the film, and accounting for 40% of its total gross so far. So, Warner's and New Line are saying, yeah, probably about 75 million. Some other places are saying 77, 80 plus, but 75 is pretty crazy. The original projection was 35 million, again. So that's a huge increase. And as it says, Last Rites is also continuing to do well ahead of an expected 50 million opening from more than 60 markets, launching midweek. It had already earned 47.3 million through Friday, putting it on course for a likely record-breaking international debut of $90 million to 95 million for a terrifyingly great global start of 165 million to 170 million. Now, it is important to note, obviously, they opened it midweek, so they've had a few more days to calculate more money, blah, 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 blah. But with a budget of $55 million before marketing, that's pretty bloody good. That's pretty bloody good. And if it gets past $92.2 million, Last Rites would surpass fellow New Line release It Chapter 2 to rank as the industry's top foreign bow of all time, not adjusted for inflation. And a global debut of 170 would mark Hollywood's third largest horror bow of all time on the global stage behind It and It Chapter 2 unadjusted. I mean, I think the real point to all of this, right, and as you can see, what they used to open to, 41 million domestic, not adjusted for inflation, blah, blah, blah. The Nun. I mean, to me, it's amazing that the Conjuring franchise has endured mainly because I don't think they're that good. Like, they're fine. Don't get me wrong, they're fine. They're not that good. I think they've dragged on a little bit too much. You know, they are also pretty paint by numbers. Like, you kind of know what you're getting with them. But I also think maybe that's the joy of it, is that you do know what you're getting with them. Maybe. I don't know. Looking at this, I don't understand why it's doing as well as it is. I think it's mainly just because people are kind of sick to death of all of the lecturing. And so you get a movie like this come out and people are like, well, they're good fun. You know, they're decent films. Why not? Let's go watch that. And I've said this, if you're a long-time viewer of the channel, I've said this a few times actually in some other videos, is horror has saved Hollywood in the past. Because you can make a horror film for, like, really not that much money. Not that much money at all. Horror films don't cost that much. I mean, this one, you know, is a relatively expensive one with $55 million. But horror films cost nothing, usually. And they normally generate large amounts of profit. Now, profit to budget anyway, right? So, like, net profit. But they don't carry as much of the blockbuster sort of image and the total gross that, you know, like a comic book movie would traditionally do. But they don't make that much profit versus their budget. So Hollywood has been saved categorically in the past by horror, and maybe we're seeing that now. I think Warner Brothers is doing a great job. You know, they position themselves as not an indie studio, but like a pretty big niche studio. You know, they're going out and doing quite a lot of these like horror films that not. I mean, they snagged Zach Cregger's film, for instance, Weapons, right? You know, there was a huge bidding war on that. They managed to grab that. I think Warner Brothers has done really well lately. Now, they're still up shit's creek without a paddle with a lot of their debt and things, but they're doing better than Disney currently with the sort of total amounts of profitable films. So, I don't know. Take from that what you will. But this is just the state of Hollywood, isn't it? I think people have just universally rejected the try-hard blockbuster. They're like, no, I know I'm supposed to like this, but I don't care. I'm done. You're seeing people just switch off in real time. They've just switched off. And I don't think you can get that back. And this is why I think Avengers Doomsday is dead. Like, I really do think Marvel has hedged their bets way too much on that film. I think they're going to be very, 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 very disappointed. So, there you go. Conjuring Last Rites. I haven't even seen it. I was going to. Well, I wasn't going to, actually. And now I'm thinking maybe I should. But have you seen it? Is it good? Should I go watch it? If you've seen it, why did you go watch it? You're one of these people that have made it a huge success. Why? What is it? Am I right? Am I wrong? Let me know down below. Bye now.